How did Captain Ibrahim Traore capture international attention and emerge as one of Africa's most talked-about leaders? Traore assumed office as Burkina Faso's president after the removal of Paul-Henri Damiba through a military coup in September 2022. This dramatic rise to power came after two coups in under 9 months. January and September 2022, he became the world's youngest head of state. In September, when he and other junior military officers ousted Lieutenant Colonel Paul-Henri Damiba, who had also ascended to the presidency, through a coup in January. Justifying why they were removing Damiba from office, Traore said in a televised address on October 1, 2022, that the embattled head of state had failed to tackle the perennial problem of insurgency. Damiba, 41, had been ousted by Traore, who was 7 years his junior in 2 positions, lower than him in the military chain of command. In the military hierarchy, Traore is in the rank of capitaine, a French word for captain. There are 3 ranks above that of captain: commandant, lieutenant colonel, and colonel. Being a former French colony, Burkina Faso adopted France's military command structure, whereas many people describe Traore's rise as meteoric within the military circles. His rise to the top was just around the corner. After serving in relatively junior positions in Burkina Faso's military, Traore's major stride came in 2014 when he was deployed to Mali as a soldier under the United Nations peacekeeping mission program, MINUSMA. Soldiers within Burkina Faso's military told the country's Radio Omega in the past that Traore, during his deployment to Mali, showed bravery. Aged 26 at the time, Traore overcame a complex attack by militant extremists in the northern Timbuktu region, an unnamed source told Radio Omega. The source further said that Traore, who was a lieutenant at the time, exhibited leadership attributes including being willful, courageous, and close to his men. Besides the assignment in Mali, Traore also featured prominently in the fights against insurgency. In his native Burkina Faso between 2019 and 2022, he was promoted to the rank of captain in 2020, shortly after staging a coup against Damiba's administration in September 2022. Traore acknowledged that his age 34 would be a subject of discussion among those questioning his presidential credentials. "I know that I am younger than most of you here. We did not want what happened, coup against Damiba, but we did not have a choice," he told government officials in October 2022. The international shine on him appeared to have faded until July 2023, when he accompanied 16 other African heads of state to St. Petersburg in Russia for a meeting with President Vladimir Putin, who had organized the Russia-Africa Summit. His fellow presidents were dressed in their characteristic custom-tailored, expensive suits, but the towering Traore, who was slightly above 6 feet in height, showed up in military combat clothing, complete with a red beret and tactical gloves. While walking past the security officers who were saluting the arriving heads of state at the summit's venue, Expo Forum, Traore was one of the few, if not the only visiting president, who saluted back. If that did not appeal to the world's optics, his muscular physique and unique presence, even in Putin's proximity, did when he posed for a photograph with the Russian leader. If you're enjoying this deep dive into the intriguing rise of Ibrahim Traore, don't forget to hit that like button, drop a comment with your thoughts, and subscribe to our channel for more insightful content. The saluting, the picture with Putin, and the dress code earned him the attention, but his speech during the Russia-Africa Summit, held between July 27th and 28th, earned him plaudits. The problem is seeing African heads of state who bring nothing to people who are struggling, singing the same song as the imperialists who call us militia. As a result, they end up referring to us as people who do not respect human rights, Traore said. We, African heads of state, must stop acting like marionettes who dance each time the imperialists pull on our strings. He went ahead to blast African presidents who are happy to receive freebies. President Vladimir Putin announced that free grain would be shipped to Africa. This is pleasing, and we say thank you for this. However, this is also a message to our African heads of state. At the next forum, we must not come here without having ensured the self-sufficiency of the food supply for our people. We must learn from the experience of those who have succeeded in achieving this, Traore said. His remarks were likened to those made in the early 1980s by the revered Thomas Sankara, who, just like Traore, ascended to Burkina Faso's presidency through a coup. On October 4, 1984, Sankara, in an equally major international platform, the United Nations General Assembly said, "Our economic ambition is to use the strength of the people of Burkina Faso to provide for all, 2 meals a day and drinking water. On social media, Traore has been referred to as Sankara incarnate. Amid a major famine in Western Africa that had ravaged Burkina Faso, Mali, Chad, and Niger in the early 1980s, Sankara staged a coup against the French leadership in Burkina Faso on August 4, 1983. The Pan-African revolutionary would go ahead to win the hearts of many citizens of Burkina Faso by introducing measures to address foreign debt and extreme hunger that had caused excessive suffering. Whereas hunger remains one of Burkina Faso's main challenges today, insecurity is even a bigger problem. Traore has pledged to fight extremist violence and has called for support from new allies, including Russia. He says his soldiers need training, equipment, and intelligence gathering to up their game against the militant extremists. Amid the high praise, some political observers say that Traore has not yet done something concrete for the people of Burkina Faso to draw strong approval. Nigerian public affairs commentator Achike Chude says Traore needs to put certain structures on the ground that would allow him to build a reputable legacy. Will he improve on the challenges that he highlighted about his predecessor? Leaders who ascend to the presidency through a coup have to walk the talk, Chude told TRT Africa. He needs to put certain structures on the ground, such that by the time he is leaving office, people would look back and say, well, the military was in charge, but its leadership was not so bad, he added. Chude also took issue with the manner in which Traore rose to presidency. Coups can be very delicate and dangerous, especially when you try to oust a military government. People say he worked closely with Damiba, his predecessor. Some would look at it and term his actions betrayal, Chude said. The public affairs commentator adds that Traore's motivation for ousting Damiba remains unclear. We do not have a definite knowledge about what is motivating him. He could be motivated by selfish interests. He could also be motivated by a genuine and patriotic national interest, Chude said. After his trip to Russia in July, Captain Ibrahim Traore received a grand welcome by thousands of Burkina Faso citizens who had lined up on the streets of the capital, Ouagadougou. Since taking power, Traore has made several notable achievements. One of his primary focuses has been improving security within the country. He has launched extensive military operations against extremist groups that have plagued Burkina Faso for years. These operations have seen some success, with several key militant leaders being captured or neutralized, and dozens of terrorist cells dismantled. Traore's administration has also taken steps to strengthen the military by enhancing training programs, acquiring modern equipment, and fostering cooperation with international allies such as Russia. In addition to military efforts, Traore has placed a strong emphasis on economic development. His government has initiated several infrastructure projects aimed at boosting the national economy and improving the quality of life for citizens. Roads, schools, and hospitals are being constructed and renovated, particularly in rural areas that have long been neglected. Traore's administration has also been working to attract foreign investment, emphasizing the country's potential in agriculture, mining, and renewable energy. Traore has also taken significant steps toward education and healthcare reform, recognizing the importance of an educated and healthy population for long-term development. His government has increased funding for public education and healthcare services. Initiatives include the construction of new schools and hospitals, the provision of scholarships for students, and the improvement of medical facilities and services across the country. On the international stage, Traore has worked to reposition Burkina Faso as a significant player in regional and global politics. His participation in the Russia-Africa Summit and subsequent engagements with international leaders have helped to raise Burkina Faso's profile. Traore's speeches have emphasized the need for African self-reliance and have called for stronger unity among African nations to combat common challenges such as poverty, disease, and insecurity. Thank you for watching. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe for more insightful analyses on international diplomatic events. Also, feel free to share this video with your friends and family. Your support helps us bring you more detailed content on global leaders and geopolitical dynamics. How did his journey to the relatively senior military rank and eventually the presidency start? Traore studied at a local military academy and thereafter joined the army in 2009. When he was 21 years old, he acquired artillery skills in the North African nation of Morocco. Traore settled on a military career after completing his secondary education in Bobo Dioulasso City, southwest of Burkina Faso. Reports state he is a shy and reserved person, but highly intelligent. Prior to removing Damiba from office, he was the head of an artillery regiment in Burkina Faso. Immediately after the September 2022 coup, Traore declared himself the new head of the Patriotic Movement for Conservation and Restoration, and 5 days later, on October 6th, he announced that he was Burkina Faso's new transitional president. Traore's administration has also been active in promoting national unity and reconciliation. Recognizing the deep divisions within Burkinabe society, he has launched initiatives aimed at fostering dialogue and cooperation among various ethnic and political groups. These efforts include community outreach programs, national dialogues, and the establishment of truth and reconciliation commissions to address past injustices and grievances. Moreover, Traore has made strides in combating corruption, a pervasive issue in Burkina Faso. His government has implemented strict anti-corruption measures, including the establishment of independent bodies to investigate and prosecute corrupt officials. These efforts have been aimed at restoring public trust in government institutions and ensuring that resources are used effectively for the development of the nation. Despite the challenges he faces, Traore's leadership has been marked by a strong sense of purpose and determination. His vision for Burkina Faso is one of self-sufficiency, security, and prosperity, and he has consistently called on his fellow citizens to work together towards achieving these goals. His speeches often emphasize the importance of hard work, unity, and resilience in the face of adversity. In conclusion, Captain Ibrahim Traore's rise to power and subsequent leadership have drawn significant international attention. His bold actions, both domestically and on the global stage, have positioned him as a notable figure in African politics. While he has achieved considerable success in his efforts to improve security, foster economic development, and promote national unity, much remains to be done. The future of Burkina Faso under Traore's leadership holds promise, but it will require continued dedication and support from both the government and the people to realize the vision of a stable, prosperous, and self-reliant nation.